Welcome to another episode of the Jovar Latra Podcast. Today we are talking about Afghanistan, breastfeeding, and a little announcement I have to make. So let's start the show. Hello? Ooh, that's cold. Let's warm it up. It's Javar's world. It's Latra's world. I'm the speaker, you the listener. I'ma talk this and I'ma talk that. I'ma talk so much. Let's start this podcast. Alright, so like I said, we're talking about the topics that we're talking about. We're talking about Afghanistan, which has been in the news a lot lately. Because if you haven't heard, the Taliban took over the capital on August 15th, and I didn't know too much information about it, so I just wanted to research it because I know it's been all in the news, and I wanted to get into details about something I really didn't know. Like, I know it's been 20 years since the Afghanistan war began, but I wanted to get into the significance of like what happened, how did this all happen, how did a country that the United States have been involved in for all these years suddenly just seem like they just got taken over as soon as the U.S. was like, we're leaving. So I'm just gonna go through like this. So the United States, after the attack of 9/11, September 11th, the United States went over there to Afghanistan and started the war because they found out Afghanistan, mostly the Taliban, which was in charge of Afghanistan at the time, was hosting or had the guest of Al-Qaeda, which, Osama bin Laden group and all of that. They was hosting them inside of Afghanistan. And the U.S. didn't like that. So what did the U.S. do? They went over there, kicked some butt. Took them only like 90 days, I heard, from all the research that I've been researching. It took about 90 days and they took over Afghanistan. So after they took over and pretty much knocked the Taliban out of power, they had to figure out like, okay, so how are we going to help these people? How are we going to bring them up, build them up, and stuff like that? So the United States got all into the infrastructure of Afghanistan, and they promoted like electricity, and by the end of about 2019, most of Afghanistan had electricity, and they had restaurants like we have restaurants, and they was pretty, I guess you could say, westernized. I don't know how you would term that like correctly, but so Afghanistan, and they also helped Afghanistan. They helped with the women. Afghanistan women didn't really have too many rights before the United States got to Afghanistan because Taliban practiced Sharia law, very tough form of Sharia law, which pretty much didn't give women the rights to do anything, at least from the research that I've read upon, that women could barely do anything in Afghanistan. So when the United States got there and NATO got there, the North Atlantic Trade Organization, when they got there, they, pretty much advanced Afghanistan into the current century and the current times and stuff. So we've heard about Afghanistan for all these years and how it is one of the longest wars the United States have ever been in. And suddenly we just decided to leave. Like we've been hearing about troops coming back home from Afghanistan for years during the Obama administration and early Trump years. But finally, we had got some positivity that is going to happen, that the troops was going to come home. And so I just researched like a little information about what happened, how it happened, what started, who negotiated, all of this good stuff. And this is what I found out. This is a little information I found out. So I'm just going to take you through the timeline. I got it written down in my notes here. All right. So in February 2020, Donald Trump and his administration began to negotiate with the Taliban. And they began this negotiations for the United States to leave the country. And the Taliban, I'm not sure how this negotiation went, because it was like the United States going to leave the country, and they wanted the Taliban to not attack the country. So they negotiated with them, but they didn't involve the country. Like Afghanistan had no talk, had no piece into this conversation that the United States was having with the Taliban at the time. So this was in February of 2020, and the deal was that the United States would withdraw all our troops by May 1st, 2021 of this year. So the deal also said that the Taliban would get 5,000 soldiers who was right at this time was in jail. The deal was that they would get released back to the Taliban. The only problem is that, like I said, Afghanistan wasn't part of this deal, but Afghanistan was the one who was holding these prisoners of war, I guess you could call them. So Afghanistan really wasn't happy when they found out about this deal. They was like, yo, hold up, wait a minute. How y'all gonna release people if they make a deal with somebody? Y'all don't even include us. Y'all don't even ask us like, hey, what y'all wanted to deal or anything like that. So at the time of this deal, there was about 13,000 troops in Afghanistan, roughly. You know, it could be here and there, more as family and stuff. So like I said, Afghanistan, they didn't want to do this deal. They were like, we do not want to release 5,000 prisoners, but the United States kind of pressured them into releasing these prisoners. So part of the deal was that the Taliban agreed not to attack the Afghanistan. They agreed not to attack United States or NATO troops, and that was part of the deal. So by May of that year, the United States had reduced their troops from 13,000 to 9,000 by May, right? So, like I said, the United States kind of put pressure on Afghanistan to release some of these Taliban troops, or prisoner of war, you could kind of say. So by September of that year, the Afghanistan released the last of the 5,000 prisoners. They had started early. They was releasing them like 100 prisoners a day or something like that, or at a week or something like that. So that was the deal they had came up with. So by September of 2020, the Taliban had 5,000 extra troops, you could pretty much say. I'm not saying all these people went back to the Taliban, but it's a good chance they did. So even though that the Taliban had agreed to, okay, we're not going to attack nobody, we just want our troops, y'all going to be going by. I don't understand how this deal worked out, because it's like, so what? So if you negotiated with the Taliban and you didn't include Afghanistan, what did you expect the Taliban to do at the end of the day? Like, it seemed like you was preparing the Taliban to kind of like take over the country. So, but like I said, Taliban didn't, according to what I researched, they kept to the deal where they would not attack U.S. troops or NATO troops, but they were attacking Afghanistan troops. They were attacking the Afghanistan forces and cities and stuff like that. So by December of 2020, Afghanistan had increased in violence. The Taliban had increased in violence in Afghanistan, and they was using this increase in violence to have leverage against the Afghanistan government on peace talks that they had just began. Like, they literally began the talks like that week, and they increased their violence that exact day of that week. So by November of last year, it had been announced that by January, the United States was only going to have about 2,500 troops in Afghanistan. So do the math. Where the United States only going to have 2,500. Afghanistan, the Taliban got released 5,000 troops. So they already got more troops than the United States. But I guess the United States was like, Afghanistan should be able to take care of itself now. We've been here for a while. I'm guessing that's how the logic was. I'm not sure the logic of this administration. So, like I said, they was supposed to be peace talks, but Taliban was attacking. And then not only were they attacking, like part of the deal was that the Taliban were not going to help out former Al-Qaeda terrorists. They were supposed to keep them away and not have them be part of the organization, like not have them host them again pretty much in the Afghanistan borders. But it's kind of hard when you kind of don't know who's the Al-Qaeda terrorist. So they pretty much like invited the Al-Qaeda to be part of the Taliban and put them in important positions. Again, according to the information I looked up, this is from factcheck.org too. I got all this from factcheck.org. So hopefully they check their facts. So I'm not giving y'all bad facts, because your boy don't want to be out here looking bad, and then I got to argue with people and stuff. So by January 15th, the U.S. troops had been reduced to 2,500, and as you know, later, a week before that, it was wild in the United States. But a week after that, Joe Biden took control. And it seemed like Joe Biden was just like, look, I wanted to end this war a while ago. So we're just going to continue with the plan, except that he changed the date. He said that instead of May 1st, he wanted to change it to September 11th. He said, I'll switch it to September 11th. And all of our troops, all American troops, will be out of Afghanistan by then. So that was his plan. And, for months, the Taliban kept attacking. They kept increasing in power. At first, they kind of gave us a little threat and was like, yo, y'all ain't out here by May 1st. Anything that happened, it's going to be y'all fault. But, they didn't, I guess they still didn't do that to America. Because, for safety reasons, Joe Biden, President Biden, he took the date up a little bit more. So he said everybody gonna be out by August 31st instead of September 11th. So, it's like, what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks early. So they did this and they said that, and by August 15th, which was 2 days ago, I'm not sure how many days, probably like 3 days ago, really, in their time. The Taliban took over the capital of Afghanistan, and the president dipped out. Like the president of Afghanistan, he's like a United Nations bank person or something like that. He dipped out, and apparently he dipped out with some money too. He was like loaded up the cars with some rumors. I'm hearing rumors. Okay, I read this actually. He loaded up like 4 cars with like a whole bunch of money, and he loaded up a helicopter with some money, and they just dipped out because they knew the Taliban had it. And this was crazy to you. Like this is what everybody been talking about. It's like, wow, did the United States mess up? Did they get out of there too fast? Should they have kept more troops? But like I said, Joe Biden, this was kind of like President Trump handed him, a good thing, because he already trying to get out of Afghanistan. So he was like, look, I ain't sending them other people. I'm just trying to get our people out of there, our diplomats out of there. That's the goal. So if you've been looking at the news, you've probably been seeing images of Afghanistan people trying to flee the country and trying to, I've seen a lot. Like they've been trying to jump on the planes that the United States was trying to land off of, and apparently they found some dead bodies in some of like the infrastructure of the airplane. Like people were jumping on the wheels and stuff like that. So yeah, so like I said, a lot of people were trying to get out because, like I said, when the Taliban was in control 20 years ago, it wasn't a very good situation. They had Sharia law. They was killing people for certain things. Women didn't have no rights. But so now everybody looking at it and saying like, okay, what the Taliban gonna do now? In my opinion, I'm glad that we got the troops out. Like we've been there for 20 years. 20 years. That's a whole. a child was raised and now has spent probably 2 years in college since the United States have been in war with Afghanistan. So it only makes sense that we're out of there. I mean, I hope that it was good for the people. Like, it'd been good if it was a good situation for the people. But for Afghanistan to just, I don't know, it just seems like they collapsed so quickly. And it makes you look at it like, what did we do for 20 years there? Like, did we train the army? Who was being trained? Because apparently now, since the Taliban has taken over, they got control of all of the weapons that the United States had gave Afghanistan. So pretty much, Taliban is Afghanistan now, you can pretty much say. So now the Taliban got all the weapons that the United States had gave Afghanistan. And Afghanistan, so I guess we kind of gave them a advancement. They, like, there you go. But, I look at this and I don't know. It just seemed like the country wasn't prepared, and it seemed. I know Joe Biden said, it wasn't matter if we would stay there a year. A year, 5 years, 20 years, if they was going to go down, or if the government wasn't ready to do what they had to do, then it's going to happen. The Taliban was going to take over. And then, you don't want to lose American lives. But again, like I said, there's so many refugees that's coming out of this situation. And I pray that Taliban isn't the same way like they used to be. Last thing I heard, Taliban person or somebody in the head of the Taliban gave an interview to a woman reporter, and that have shocked a lot of people. They was like, wow, one woman reporter is interviewing a Taliban person. So hopefully they're not too strict like they used to be. We're going to see. I mean, to me, the cost of those 20 years was a lot. I mean, sure, we helped people and we tried to advance the country, but for the country to go down that quickly, like I said, it's just weird. It's just weird how fast it happened. But like thousands of Americans and NATO troops had been lost. But most importantly, tens of thousands of Afghan people, just regular everyday citizens, lost their lives through just the war of it all. So, I mean, hopefully a lot of more people will survive, and, the Taliban can continue the modernization of Afghanistan. That's what I'm hoping. That might be the love and peace in me that's in my soul and heart, and hope that every day goes right for these people. But they spent trillions of dollars. The United States spent trillions of dollars on this war. You always hear, right now you're hearing many people who always talk about, we shouldn't be spending at home on us for benefits or like unemployment and all of that good stuff. And then they mad that the United States has cut the ties with Afghanistan, which should save us a lot of money, which can help out over here, you would think. But like I said, we're going to see. But hopefully everything ends up right. I just wanted to report on that because it's something that's been going on. And like I said, I want to talk about a lot of different stuff, no matter if it's bad, good, like this. This is wild. But at the same time, I look at this and I think about our border and, how much we've been over there for 20 years, spending trillions of dollars. And then you see people at our border trying to get over here because they fleeing from something. The people at our border, they're just not here because they're trying to go on vacation. They are fleeing from something in the Central America, South America area. I would call out names of countries, but I don't want to. I get my countries mixed up sometimes. But these people are fleeing from something. And just imagine if the United States would have used that money that they use all in Afghanistan. You remind you, there's a lot of countries surrounded by Afghanistan compared to how close we are to South America and Central America. And we could have used that money and figure out why these people are trying to leave Central America, and we're going to help them, which is closer to our home, and everything, and help them get their infrastructure and their modernization and make sure that their government was right. would we have this border problem in the United States right now? Like, we spent so much money overseas where we could have been spending money in North America, South America, helping these different countries make sure that our area is nice, that our neighbors are cool. So hopefully this money, it goes, the money we got from Afghanistan, we got going from Afghanistan, come to America and help us out in the country, internally, and the countries that surround us. So, we could have a little better over here. We don't want no wars over here. We don't want no dictatorships over here, or bad dictatorships, if it's a good dictatorship. I mean, I guess. But bad dictatorship. And we'll see about that. But that's just something that's pretty much the thing I wanted to bring up, was our border. Like, we all the way over there. Man, there's people at our border trying to flee from drug cartels and all of that. And we could do something about that. We could have been done something about that for years. Like, we've been battling the drug cartels, or we've known about the drug cartels for years in the United States. Next topic. The Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine wants to use gender inclusive language. Okay, so this is, I don't know, this is wild to me. This is wild mentally to me. So instead of breastfeeding, they want people to start saying either chest feeding, lactating, expressing, pumping, human milk feeding, instead of breastfeeding. And instead of breast milk, they want it to be either called just regular old milk, human milk, mother's own milk, parents' milk, father's milk. You heard that? Now that is wild to me. Now, I'm completely for people getting gender reassignment surgeries and all that. Like, be who you are. Be who you naturally are. Like I said in the first episode, I like calling people natural. You are naturally whoever you are. But this is wild. They try to change breastfeeding to chest feeding. For one thing, breastfeeding is in the name of their organization. Their organization is called the Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine. So they be called the Academy of Chest Feeding Medicine, the Academy of Lactating Medicine, the Academy of Expressing Medicine, the Academy of Pumping Medicine. That don't even sound good right there. That sounds like another drug cartel right there. The Academy of Human Milk Feeding, like that is, just keep it at breastfeeding. We all got breasts anyway. Men got breasts, women got breasts, other animals have breasts. Breast is a natural thing. I mean, chest feeding, like that, look, that doesn't make, I don't understand. Like, I understand it's still the nipple, like you still got the milk nipple. So just why we sometimes I feel like we are just like we just blow away. We just blow away from the norms, and we're like, oh, we gotta be. I mean, was this a problem? Was this a problem that I didn't know about? Where they're like people of different genders or something like that, or that was complaining about why is this called breastfeeding? Why is it called breast milk or something like that? Like, I know a couple months ago, people were making fun of the Biden administration because they said pregnant people instead of like pregnant women. But it was like, oh, pregnant people now and stuff like that. But that makes sense because some people get gender reassignment surgery, and they might turn from a female to a male or a woman to a man, but they still have their women parts inside of them, so they still could give birth to a kid. So I understand that, like, they don't, if you don't want to be considered a woman no more, then people means group of everybody. But breast milk, breastfeeding, everybody got breasts. I got little ties right here. You know what I'm saying? Everybody got some breasts on them. I don't see what was the point of just coming out. Like, is their research just, COVID was last year, they didn't have nothing else to do. It was like, look, guys, you know what we should do? Gender inclusive language. we're gonna change breastfeeding to. I mean, went from breastfeeding to chest feeding. Like, what? you instead of saying breast milk, you just use regular milk word. Like, it's milk. Okay, people don't call it milk anyway. But what type of milk? It came from the breast. It came from a particular body part. It ain't like it just came from out the blue. It came from a particular body part. I mean, you might as well just change the word breast. Just chest. But I ain't gonna lie, breast sounds a lot better than chest. Let's just put it out there. I'll be like, dang girl, I'm looking at them. Okay, see, I'm finna get in trouble with me too for saying what I'm about to say. But come on, guys, this can't be real. Like, let's continue with the breastfeeding. Let's continue calling it breast milk. I don't think it's too big of an issue that I haven't heard nobody ever complain. What I have heard people complain about is that people not normal when it comes to breastfeeding. When a mama wants to breastfeed her baby in public, people be like, it's breast. You got some breasts out. Oh my God, I can't believe you doing that in public. See, y'all need to tackle that issue. Like, y'all need to normalize the process of breastfeeding or having breast milk, because it's a natural process. It is a natural born process that babies need to survive at the beginning stages of life, and people try to make a big deal about it for no apparent reason. If a woman need to feed her baby, let her put her breast out and feed that dang baby. I mean, don't be looking, don't be staring, be respectful. Duh. I mean, normalize that. Let's start from there. How about that? The what is it called? The Academy of Breastfeeding Medicine. Let's start by normalizing the process of women taking out their breasts and feeding their baby in public when they have to. And let's normalize the guys who, we put on that little thing and we got the little milk things right there. Let's normalize having that and feeding our babies from that out in public too, or just having that in general. Because, let the baby have that same love and affection that it would have if the mama was breastfeeding it. Let's normalize breastfeeding just in general. Let's try to normalize it. And, nothing wrong with formula and stuff like that. I mean, it might be, I haven't did research on it completely. But let's normalize women just feeding their babies. How about that? Let's just normalize babies getting fed in this piece. And this chest feeding, lactating is a usual word. I never heard of expressing. I never heard that one before. Pumping, I've heard of pumping, but I don't know why that would be transferred with breastfeeding. Human milk feeding, that just sounds weird. Like, you might as well just say breast milk. Human milk feeding? Like, why you gotta, why is it a particular with that? And the milk, like breast milk, you say goat milk. You say, I guess that's why they want to say human milk. Well, it came from the breast. We're talking about us. This is I'm pretty sure when goats or dogs, when they have babies, they be like, oh, you breastfeeding. Like, I'm pretty sure they don't be like dog feeding. Like they don't care. Like, they know they're a dog. Why would they? They know they're a goat. Why would they just point that out? Yeah, that was just a funny story. Shout out to my friend Carrie for sending me that. That was out the blue right there. I was like, if you have a problem with it, just let me know. I want to find out like who has a problem with the words breastfeeding and breast milk. Just contact me. Okay. New outro. Just putting that out there. So you're gonna find out some more information. I just joined Facebook. And that's what this news is about. Not that I joined Facebook, but I'm coming out with another show. It's not really coming out with another show. It's really a updated version of an older show I did called a Jovar Minute. I need to find a way to interact with people on a daily basis because, the podcast, right now my date says Saturday, Monday, and Wednesday. I try to release a new episode by 5 o'clock. If you haven't noticed, there goes your detail right there. but I'm trying to find a way to, interact with people on a daily basis. So a Jovar Minute will be coming back, and that's usually just me talking for a minute. I might be in front of a video or talking about a certain video or a certain topic just for a minute though. Just a quick little hit a quitter on you right there. And like I said, I've joined Facebook, so you can follow the Jovar TV page on Facebook. You can also follow Jovar TV on Instagram. Twitter, I don't really use Twitter too much until, I don't got too many followers on there. But, and YouTube, I'm posting this video. This podcast has a video. So if you look at the video, if you listen to this podcast, you can watch the video. If you watch the video, but you ain't got time to watch it and you're on the road, you can listen to the podcast. The podcast is on most streaming services. We're waiting to get on Apple and Pandora, and the video is on Facebook at the Jovar TV page, Instagram at Jovar TV, and YouTube at Jovar TV. You can also listen to the podcast at Jovar Latra Buzzsprout. That's my hosting service.com. That's all the news I had to tell y'all for today. That's it, people. Wow. Love, peace. Hopefully Afghanistan right. I hope the Taliban do the right thing. That just been blowing up the news, and I thought I would give y'all some details of what happened, how I get to what what happened 3 days ago. Again, our border. Let's work on that. Get these people in the United States and then figure out why their country isn't paying them or isn't safe as they need it to be. Like, let's solve this problem. Peace, love, like I said, breastfeeding, breast milk, still my words. Until somebody tell me different. Until somebody come out and be like, no, Jovar, you shouldn't use those words because. So you tell me you have a problem with it or tell me why and we discuss that, because we're going to have a discussion. Don't think you're just going to tell me and then we ain't going to have a discussion. I ain't one of those people. We're going to have a discussion about it. And like I said, new show coming out soon. Probably tomorrow. Might be the first one. I haven't decided yet. But maybe might be on Saturday. I'll start doing a Jovar Minute again, which I just talk for a good minute. Just a quick little episode. Just to give myself a daily interaction with you guys. And I see y'all next episode. Love you. Peace. Mwah. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Jovar Latra Podcast. Listen to more episodes on our website, the Jovar Latra Podcast.buzzsprout.com, or your favorite audio service. You can also watch, follow, and message the show at Jovar TV on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Until next time, remember, you are loved, and I'll see you later.